Good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your financial market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for the evening as we're here now on Thursday, and this is the 11th of January, 2023. At times, but just getting on at 6:45 p.m. We're going into the deep freeze in the Chicago area and through a great part of America. So this is going to be one of they call those, what are they, cyclone bombs or whatever they're calling them. Chicago area could get anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow. The high temperatures for the next 8 to 10 days are going to be in the teens with the lows 0 or worse. So here comes our cold weather. I mention it because you're going to get a bounce probably in the energy markets. When we're cold, it moves. Remember how the trade wind, well, the winds go basically west to east. You can get winds out of the south and they can become definitely easterly. We get them all the time. But basically that's what happens, and that cold weather will drift on through the country. How deep it goes will be important too. An event tonight. The U.S. and the UK have attacked the Houthis in Yemen. Now, just yesterday, I showed you what a hawk I was, and I said, there's only so much you can do. I mean, what's the point of being the United States, the United Kingdom, making threats, telling a group not to do something, and then they attack you in a way they've never attacked before, that ferocious. So what do you have to do? You have to strike back. And that's what has happened. Now, the Houthis this morning, the head of it said that if the U.S. strikes back, all, is going to break loose. They'll come at them in a way they've not seen. Okay. That's all I can say. Okay. The ships are there. Go do your best. And then let's calm this thing down. That's the only way I know how to do it. Remember what I said, force versus force is the only thing terrorism understands. Could it turn into something more? That's always been the fear. Could Iran get involved? Yep. Do I think today when Iran grabbed a ship off the coast of Oman and the ship is headed back to Iran, they boarded it with their army. I guess 5 commandos went on that. Yep, that's part of it, the boldness of it. But it was their ship to begin with. I mean, in reality, this ship was carrying oil originally destined from Iran, as I understand it, to China. It was intercepted. Over time, all the oil was offloaded. I guess something else happened where the ship was doing whatever. And Iran went back for the ship. I don't know that that's worth fighting over. If it's their ship, let them have their ship back. You took the oil off of it and you made your point. And of course, the Iran said we stole their oil, which we did. We didn't borrow it. We took it. It's really simple. All right. So what does that do? Well, you get your $15 bid in the gold. You're up 20 on the news. Silver market was up 35 cents roughly already. That's important. I don't know where the gold will be. I'm looking at what's going on in other currencies, and there isn't a big reaction because the world doesn't expect a world war to come out of this unless Iran gets involved, and then China came and Russia to Iran's defense in some manner. I mean, you could carry this all the way to the world ends, all right? But do I think it's worth it? Do I think Iran thinks it's worth it to lose its oil fields? Because they sit there, no matter how many missiles they have, they'll be taken out. It isn't worth it. So everything's got to calm down. In courts, Israel has been accused of genocide. It took place with South Africa making the charge. And I think to a degree there's talk about whether or not that's real or not. I mean, there's a lot of civilians being killed any way you want to look at it. I'm not getting into the politics of all that, but I understand. And you have to understand. I mean, every day we wake up, 300 more people. You see the pictures. Who doesn't feel for these people? I do. Not everybody's a terrorist. So it works that way. Some people are just in harm's way and not much they can get out of that. All right. In Bitcoin, I told my traders today, and I'll end with this, that was when the market was back up at 48,000. I said it. I think I said it here too in the morning update. I said, time to go bye-bye. You had your free look the day before when the SEC's X account had been broken into and it said the ETFs were approved. Well, you didn't get much beyond that. I think you got to 49,400. You cleared the 48.4 you made on that news, and now you're back down here. I heard today, all I have to do is listen to Kathy Woods to see how excited I want to get. She's predicting $1.5 million a coin. I heard her today do it, so I watched the whole interview. Conservative, $500,000, but it's probably going to $1.5 million. And everybody that believes in that coin is. But nobody's told me what the coin's purpose is, other than it's a limited value of a storage of wealth. That I get, okay? It is, you can put money in it, they're going to make less coins, so there won't be as many. But you cannot convince me that it is an everyday item that has a use other than that. The argument they'll make is that so much different than a diamond or gold? Okay, I get the arguments, and I'm sure that there's a certain amount of money that's going to flow there. I heard today analysts all over saying, maybe you should take 0.5% or 1% of the value of your portfolio and put that in. Now let's multiply that times millions of people around the world if they did this into these ETFs. That's a heck of a lot of money pouring into a limited amount of coins. So I get it. I do get it. That doesn't mean that I understand it the way that I guess I'm supposed to, and I've read as much as I can. I just think I'm dense. Okay. So we come over with the E-mini weekly S&P 500. You can see how the market's up here at a resistance point. You can see how the market's still stuck in the middle of no man's land. If you're trying to make heads and tails sense out of this, when you do, call me or write it here so that we see it if you're watching these videos, because it's really sort of, you had this phenomenal rally from November that went up to Christmas time. The market sold off. Now you got to bounce back in the market. I get it. When we take a look at the 18-day average of close, you're fighting to stay over it. I get that, bullish bias in the market. But I don't see it easily getting over the upper Bollinger Band at the 48.60 level. I think that's important. And if you attend my Tuesday webinar, I'm just going to bring this up and then we'll get into the rest of the charts. This coming Tuesday, we're having our live webinar. I picked a great day because most of the markets are not open in most of the day, that's for sure. In the futures markets, some are open in the morning. Stock markets, Martin Luther King Day. Then you come back, the markets will catch up, and at 12:30, I'm there to answer your questions. Fast-paced, lots of charts. We'll talk about things you ask. You're the determination of what I do in that. Your questions, do it. You can either call my staff for an invite if you haven't gotten one in the email form from me. You can come up here. There'll be an icon. Give that a click. That'll get you to the form. Fill it out. You'll get a return email with your user ID, the password, and the link to come into the Zoom webinar. That's going to open. I open it at 12:15 in the afternoon on Tuesday. I begin at 12:30. So if you have questions and all, you want to get yourself set up, get them to me. In your invite, when after you fill out the form and you get from us your user ID, password, and the link, there's another link to write me questions. Do it. We're getting quite a few of them, and I will cover as much as I can for you during this very fast-paced webinar. It lasts only 20 minutes, so make the time for it. Remember, just move your cursor up there and give it a click. Okay, won't do that again. It'll be on throughout the whole show. So, are we trending? No. Do we have a bounce? Yes. It's sort of waves now, up and down. Market's got to digest this newest event with the Houthis as well. You are overbought, not trending. Resistance, very clear, 48.60 level. Support, 47.95. When we come to the NASDAQ, you had an outside day up today. Danger, danger, danger if today's low is taken out. Generally, if you take out the low of an outside day up, there's a problem in the market. The market's trying to reestablish an uptrend. It had one. We had that correction down to the lower band that it should have found support at, and it did. And now the market's determining what is next. Now, why did we come up? We had a CPI report that any way that I look at it, I don't understand why people think this report means a March rate cut is in the cards. Yet people do. They looked at it and they said it doesn't matter that the headline went up a little bit. If you look at the long-term core and others, it got under 4%. It's on its way down. They are right on that. Completely correct on that. But it's the speed of the break. It's looking at what the different Fed members are saying, from the New York Fed to Loretta Mester today, I can go on, Barkin speaking. They all want to see one thing: sustainability, not these bounces one way or the other, so that we get to our target. More and more Fed members believe that we will not hit 2% this year, but we will get somewhere between 2.25%, 2.75% from everything that I'm reading. So they are looking for the decline. That tells me they're also looking for the rate cuts to begin. When is the question? I don't think they're even talking about ending the runoff of the balance sheet. We'll see what comes of that. And I want you to understand, I have a very open mind. Don't corner me in saying, well, Ira said no rate cut. Here's what I am saying. Basis this report, I don't see it. But you have 2 more CPI reports. You have 2 more jobs reports before the March FOMC meeting. Give me the opportunity to look at those and see what I've got. I go on record. This report on its own, I don't see the reason for the Fed to cut. Last week's jobs data, I don't see the reason to cut. Get the trends down, weaken the jobs market, weaken these other reports. Well, and if they go back to back 1 week and then even weaker on the report after that one, then I get excited about the possibility. I'm not there. When we take a look at what the Dow is doing, flatten the momentum, no trend. You have a higher high, lower low, and you're stuck in sideways Bollinger Bands. This is a theme that you have in most of the stock indices. And you're caught between the 18-day average and the lower Bollinger Band. In the Russell, the trend is down, unlike all the other indices. And as you know, this is the one that I keep telling you, I don't think the traders are in love with. When we take a look at the 10-year note, the market came back and it's fighting its battle at the 18-day average. You tell me the number this market stopped at. If you don't see it and you haven't taken my enhanced Bollinger Band course, shame on you. Start learning how to work with that. In the 5-year note, you didn't quite make it to the Bollinger Band. You went back to the neutral area, the 18-day average. Why are bonds tonight and bills getting a bid? War. It's not the CPI number. It's not tomorrow's PPI. People run to the gold market. They dump stocks typically. They want to own the U.S. dollar. If it's in the Mideast, you're worried about oil flow. That gets a bid. And it's the typical early reaction to an attack on the Houthis. That's what's going on. May not even be in place in the morning, and it may be worse. You never know. Depends on what the Houthis now do. Ball's in their court again. Back and forth in the dollar index. As I said, I see stiff resistance, 102.65 to 102.75, the 200-day average and the Bollinger Band, and you're overbought in the market. That chart's a mess. It's not a pretty chart. In the eurocurrency, tell me you're not neutral at the 18-day average. You hear me over and over preach. It's the line in the sand. It's from that number the market decides what it wants to do. We have been talking here night after night that the first major support is the 200-day average. Look at how the market keeps going there and fighting its battle against it. Nothing has changed. In the British pound, up to the upper Bollinger Band. If you were in my report this morning, I said it was around 127.79 when I was putting out the morning subscriber video. I remember what it was doing. And I said, right here and the 128 zone, I want you to start pulling out money. It's still right in that area. So I feel very good with what I said. And I do think the Bollinger Band's a problem zone for it. Which way these markets want to launch out of it. By the way, let me come back there. Out of this overall sideways action, that is what the gamble is, but I don't want to gamble for it. I'd rather come in after the fact in my morning subscriber videos or in my written updates. In Bitcoin, why do you think I keep saying, I'm telling my clients to come out? Look at the Bollinger Band. I'm a preacher of this. You know that. And if you go back and you look at my work, all the videos are there. You know, you can look at them. I'll stick with what I teach. When we take a look at Brent versus WTI, War in the Middle East, again, another element of it with the US, UK, and the Houthis now going at it. That's not bearish for the energy prices. So you're up moderately. You're not on fire. You're up moderately. You're up 1.77% tonight over the 18-day average in an uptrend, by the way. All the charts are bullish still. You could easily get to the upper Bollinger Band here. And the 200-day average is the likely target, 79.79 in the Brent at this point. When we look at heating oil, I'm not interested in the Middle East. I'm interested in this big spell of cold that is not a one-day spell. I am looking at the 10-day forecast, and it's just freezing. So that's what's going to move the market. You wait for that first move. All of December, what did you have? You had a mild December. Some of the mildest that we've had on record. Snow problems, the ski resorts in the Midwest couldn't open, and a lot of them couldn't open out east and other areas. Now, winter has come back. Welcome. And you're getting your move in that market accordingly. As we take a look at nat gas, we've had a bit of a correction from the Bollinger Band. You're still a bit overbought in the market. I'd like to see it work that off. I don't think you can go very far without doing that. So we'll see where that carries you. So again, I want to see you all, and I hope that you decide to join me on Tuesday at 12:30 in the afternoon, Central Time. To get your invite, move your cursor to the top here. If you haven't gotten one by the email, seating is limited, and we are filling up. I can tell you that right now. I'm Ira. You have a great day.